Let me ask you a quick question. Do you use WordPress and WooCommerce to build online stores for yourself or for your clients? If the answer is yes, chances are you've probably come across that frustration of you can customize the way the front end looks to a large extent, but when you've got your customers logging into their little dashboard, logging into their account, it all kind of looks very much the same, a little bit boring, a little bit old hat. Well, today I'm going to show you two different ways on how you can rectify that. The first way, we're going to dabble with some code, we're going to get stuck in and make some changes. Might sound daunting, but in all honesty, this is probably the quickest and the easiest way to make changes to those simple things like names and text and so on. However, if you want to create something truly unique, the second half of this video, we're going to be taking Elementor Pro and building a completely bespoke custom dashboard for our customers. So if you're interested in this, join me as I'll take you through that entire process of building those things right now. Now, once you log in, this is a typical dashboard you'd expect to see as part of WooCommerce. It has all the basic things there. In this example, if you are using a theme like Astra, which is what we are doing, you'll see that the icons are missing from the next to the actual different sections. However, depends upon the theme you're using, they may configure this slightly differently. But for this first part, we're kind of going to get delving into that code side of things. Now, you might be a bit daunted by this, but don't be, because I'm going to give you all the code you need to copy and paste, and we're going to go through how you can change things so you'll have a good understanding of exactly what's going on. But what I would always recommend whenever you're going to mess around with the functions.php file is use a child theme. Don't use your main theme, so you've always got a backup of the original files all in place, and any changes you make are only being done to that child theme. So if you have to restore things or something goes wrong or you run an update, you've always got the original files already. And always take a backup. Okay, so with all those kind of warnings out of the way, how do we get stuck in and start configuring and changing and doing all these cool things? What we need to do is go into the actual site structure. We need to go in and start editing files. Now, I do not recommend going in through the dashboard of WordPress. I'll show you how you can do it, but I really don't recommend doing it. So we come back into the dashboard, and what we're going to do is we're going to come into Appearance, and we're going to come into Themes, and we're going to come down to Theme Editor at the bottom. We're going to click to open that up. We'll say, I understand on this warning message, and read this because this is important. We're going to say, I understand. Look at the top right-hand side, making sure that you're going to be editing the correct theme. You can see in this example, it's the Astra child theme. And we need to come down and choose functions.php. That will then bring us into the PHP file section. And there we can start making changes. Once we've made those changes, we can hit update, and providing everything is working okay, we'll be taken back into our site and we can see those changes. But like I said, the reason I do not recommend doing it this way is because if you make a mistake, you could lock yourself out of the dashboard of WordPress, then you're going to have a problem and you're going to have to go dig around for the files to find the file to make the changes to put everything back to where it was. So please try to avoid this wherever possible. The better way of doing it is to do it through the sort of file manager. You can do this through FTP. If you have a piece of software like FileZilla, you could use that. Or if you're using something like SiteGround or using a host with cPanel or those kinds of things, you should have a file manager as part of that. Now I'm using SiteGround, so I'm going to come over to my SiteGround dashboard. On the left-hand side are all the subdomains, so you don't generally going to see this. We're going to take a look at just the site that I want, which is this pods.wpprowebsite.com. Now inside there, you'll normally find a pile of different folders. The only one we're interested in is the public_HTML folder. Expand that out, and inside there, that's where all of the WordPress files and everything to do with WordPress is located. What we're going to do is we're going to come into the WP content folder, and from there we're going to come into our themes folder. As you can see, there's all the themes we currently have. Astra Child is the one that's currently active and the one we want to edit, so we're going to go into that, and from there you can see we've got the functions.php file, a style.css file, and a screenshot.jpg file. Now, at the bare minimum, you should always find these three files inside a theme folder, or I should say a child theme folder. You may see more, but you should never see less. So what we want to do is open up and edit the functions.php file. And you can see this is exactly the same file as we just saw going through the dashboard of WordPress. Now what we need to do is make a bit of space underneath, and we're going to just copy in a big block of code. So I'm going to paste this in, and like I say, this will be available to you, so check out the description below so you can copy and paste this and do what you need. Now let's quickly take a look at it. What we're doing is we're basically creating a function. And a function just allows us to tap into the core of WooCommerce, the core of WordPress and so on, via our theme and make changes. These could be visual changes, they could be core code changes. Lots of different things you can do with these. You don't really need to understand exactly what's going on, just what you need to change or edit to get the effect that you want. So if we take a look at it, we can see we've got function, my account menu order. In other words, this is all the different sections you'll see inside the account of WooCommerce. And if we jump back over into that, you can see there they all are. Dashboard through to logout. Come back to the site tools, dashboard through to customer logout. So all there. So let's just say you want to change something. What we need to do is come over to this second section, and you can see inside parenthesis, we've got dashboard, orders, my downloads, and so on. These are just the text labels that have been associated to these inside the dashboard. So if we just say we're going to just change this to my orders, and we'll just hit save. We'll come back over to our dashboard and refresh this. And you can see now we've got my orders. And anything we may change the order of will be changed inside here as well. So it's very simple to make text changes to these. And if you obviously wanted to take something out, all you need to do is simply select the line that you want to remove. We'll cut that out of there. And then we'll just save that. And we've now got rid of my orders. So I'm going to come back into my account. We'll refresh this. And my orders has now gone. Alternatively, if we don't want to cut something out, we just simply want to move it. All we need to do now is close that up, close any spacing up, and we'll drop exactly where we want. So we'll just say we want to put that underneath there. We'll paste that in. We'll now resave this, and we've now changed the order of exactly what's going on inside here. So it's super simple to make these changes. Like I say, this is just the order, the labels, and so on. So if all you want to do is take something out, for example, downloads might not be applicable to you if you don't sell digital products. Well, you can simply remove that using this method. So hopefully what you can see is this is actually pretty simple. So now we've seen those basics, we're ready to just go just a little bit deeper. Let's just say, for example, we wanted to add a new section in. Maybe we were offering a reward to our customers, our loyal customers. We wanted a section inside their dashboard that displayed that. Let's take a look at how we can add that new endpoint in. So we're going to go back into our file manager. We've still got the functions PHP file open, and all we've got is what we left off with in the previous section. We've just got those different sections inside here. The first thing we need to do is register the endpoint. Now the endpoint is just basically the page that you're going to go to that actually contains the data for, in this example, the rewards page. So first thing we need to do is we're going to copy this little block of code in underneath the functions for our menu. So we're going to drop that inside there. Let me just quickly go through what's happening. Now you don't need to really understand this too much. You just need to know what you need to change if you want to create a different page. So we're adding an action. So we're telling it to initialize an action, and that action is to create a my account new endpoint. So it's going to register a new endpoint. Then it tells it the function, how to actually do it, and then we've got the add rewrite endpoint. Now the only thing that we really need to take a look at is what's inside these parentheses. And as you can see, it's rewards. That's the name of the page, the endpoint we're going to create. So with that being done, we're going to need to save this page, and then we need to come back into the permalinks in our site, and all we need to do is scroll down and save the changes. That will then refresh everything and make sure that that new endpoint has been registered and all the cache has been cleared to make sure that's in place. So that's the first part of it. That's created the endpoint. The next thing we need to do now is go through and create the, or tell it where the endpoint information is going to be stored. So again, we're just going to simply copy and paste this block of text, this block of code in. And let me just quickly go through this. Again, we've got another action saying WooCommerce Account Rewards Endpoint. So the rewards is the name of the new section we're adding in. So again, if you want to create a different name, just make sure you update anywhere where it says, in this example, rewards to whatever you want to call it. Next up, again, we have a function that says rewards endpoint content. That's going to create that function and reference it and do everything we need. And then underneath, we've got template part. This is the name of the template that we're going to use. So we need to create this PHP file, which we're going to do in the next step. But to make sure that we don't make any mistakes, we're going to copy this, and then we've basically got our file name in place. So we're going to simply copy that. Now again, remember, if you change this to something else, you might have my account, and it could be my account coupons, my account wish list. It could be 1,000,001 different things. Make sure that you update that and you create the file using that name that makes sense. So we've got the next part done. So we're going to save this and we're going to create that new file. And to do that, we're going to come and create a new file. We're going to paste in that name we just said, my-account-rewards, and we're going to put full stop PHP. So that's going to create a PHP file now, so we can run PHP code on this page should we need to. We'll click confirm, and we've now created that page. So what we need to do now is just put some content into it. So what we're going to do, with it open, we're going to drop in just a little bit of text. So I'm going to drop that inside there, so you've got something just to say there's content on this page. We'll save that page and we'll close it down. Okay, so we've done most of it. However, if we go back to my account and we refresh this, we don't see any link through to that new rewards section. So that's the next thing we need to take care of. Come back down into our functions PHP file, and there's all our links. So all we need to do is drop in the right link for that new rewards section. Now I've already created it, but you could just as easily copy this and change what you need. So I'm going to make some space above the customer logout, and we're just going to paste in the rewards section. Let's just line that up. So as you can see, rewards is the name of the endpoint we're referencing, which you've created down here. There's our rewards endpoint. Your rewards is the name that we're going to use, or the text we're going to use inside the dashboard, inside the account, I should say, and then WooCommerce because it's a WooCommerce function. So providing everything is now in place, if we save that and come back over to my account page, come back to our dashboard, we can refresh if you want to, but you can see there's our new section called Your Rewards. Click, there's my rewards section. So that's the contents of that PHP file. Now obviously you can put whatever you want inside there, and this is beyond what I want to cover in this, how to create these kinds of functions. This is just how you register that new feature inside here, and then you can reference that. Any kind of content can be placed inside there. So that's how we can customize the My Account menus, how we can take things out, rename things, add new sections in. But what about if we want to change some other things? Let's just say, for example, where we've got this dashboard, it says, hello, Paul C, which is the name that I've created inside this account, and there's a list of different things underneath it. How can we change that? Let's just say, like we're going to do in the next stage, we're going to create our own completely customized dashboard. How would we go about changing that? Because we still need to use this portion on the right-hand side, because that's where all of the information, when you click on any of these endpoints, will be listed. So things like your addresses, your orders, and so on. So let's take a look at how we can deal with that next. Now to do this, we can't edit the functions PHP file. We need to go in and edit an actual WooCommerce file. Now, the most important thing you do here is you take a copy of the file or files you want to edit, and you put a copy of those into your theme folder. Don't edit the original files inside WooCommerce for two key reasons. If you make a mistake, you can kill WooCommerce. Not a good thing. The second thing is, once you have an update to WooCommerce, which comes out quite regularly, any changes you made to that file will be overwritten and replaced with the default. So you'd have to go back in again, edit the file, and so on. So it's not the best way of doing it. So let's take a look at the right way to do it first. So first things first, we need to create a new folder inside the root of our theme. So we're using the Astra child. That's exactly where we are right now. As you can see, we've got the functions file and so on we took a look at earlier. We're going to create a new folder inside there, and we're going to call this WooCommerce. And we're going to confirm that. And now we can copy the file or files we want to edit into that folder. So what we need to do now is go and grab the file and recreate the relevant structure to be able to make a full copy of it and start editing it. So to do that, we're going to come back up to the plugin section inside our website. And from there, we're going to come down to open up WooCommerce. We're going to scroll through until we find the templates folder. And inside templates, we've got another folder called My Account. If we open that up, there's the file in there called dashboard.php. So what we need to do is copy this folder and the dashboard.php file. Now the easiest way of doing things inside here is to recreate that folder and then copy the file over. So first of all, I'm going to select the dashboard.php file and we're going to say copy. Then what we're going to do is we're going to come back down into our Astra child and open up WooCommerce, and from there we're going to create a new folder and we're going to call this My Account and click confirm. So we've now created that folder. Now please note, you do not need to create the templates folder inside WooCommerce. That is basically being ignored. My Account, it knows you're editing the template files. So from there, we're going to open that up and we can just right click now and we can say paste. And there's our dashboard.php file in place. So let's click to open that up and edit it. Okay, so let's just take a quick look at what we need to do inside here. If we scroll down a little bit, you can see there's two key blocks of text inside here. The first block inside the PHP parameters is the sort of welcome message, the hello so-and-so name, you can log out and all these kinds of things if it's not you. So you come back over into our dashboard and refresh to make sure we've got everything in place. You'll see it says, hello Paul C, not Paul C, log out, and then we've got some info underneath. So the first little block is what we can see inside there. So if what we want to do is make some changes, maybe we don't want to put hello, we want to put hola or hi or something else, you can change that. But we want to get rid of that completely. Before we do, let's just take a look at the second block. So this says, from your account dashboard, you can view blah, 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 and do other things. Then we've got 3 endpoints underneath. Now remember back to the previous section, endpoints is just basically the different parts of my account, your dashboard for orders, addresses, and all those kinds of things. So you can see there's 3 things inside here: orders, edit address, and edit account. Come back in, you can see this is where you've got your recent orders, your shipping and billing address, which is your addresses, and then your edit password and account details. So there's 3 endpoints. So if you want to make changes, you could do that inside there. But all we want to do is remove this first section, because when we take a look at creating a more custom dashboard using Elementor, we're going to be getting rid of that left-hand section, and we don't want to have this welcome message because it's basically going to be repeated at the top of our custom dashboard. Now, we could, if we wanted to, use this little bit of information, but we're not going to. We're going to use some of the built-in functions that's part of Elementor. Now, we're pretty safe making changes to this because we are just editing a copy of this dashboard PHP file. So let's just grab this little block inside the P for paragraph section. So this is just that entire block, making sure you only grab the right code. We'll delete that from there and we'll save this page. We come back to my dashboard and refresh. We should then find that that opening welcome has now gone. So that's the first part of this done. Okay, so that's how we make those changes. Now, this is this section where we delve into code and so on inside WooCommerce. I've finished with this section. Now, we're not going to do any more in here, but hopefully what you've seen is there is a lot of really cool things you can do to customize the way WooCommerce kind of works and the different things you can do. If you want to end at this point, by all means do, but the next section, I'm going to take you through and show you how we can take Elementor and how we can build a completely custom dashboard, how we can reference those endpoints and how we can create something a little bit more unique. So before we move on, let's take a quick look at what we're going to be creating. As you can see, this is now our new account dashboard. It looks a lot nicer than the standard default way of working. We've got our custom endpoints across the top section. We've got a welcome message. We've got our nice avatar picture. If we scroll down, we've got the normal message that you have as part of WooCommerce. And if we click on any of these, for example, view orders, you'll see that underneath that section will show us any orders. The same goes with downloads, account details, and so on. So we click on account details. We'll see that this section now opens up and allows us to customize our account information. So what we're doing is we're creating this custom section inside a custom dashboard, and then we're kind of using the built-in functionality that's part of WooCommerce to pre-fill out this information underneath. So it's a nice way of combining the two different things. And in the first part, you saw how we could create more complex, how we can customize different things. This is taking it to the next level, and combining the two of these, I think, gives you an amazing opportunity to create much more unique WooCommerce experiences for your customers. So let's take a look at how we could create something very similar to this. Now, first of all, I want to say that if you want to download this layout, you kind of have access to that. I'll put a link in the description below so you can just download the template file for this. All the links are basically relative links, so you shouldn't have to change anything inside this. If you follow along with what we're doing and you don't change any of those endpoint details, all this should work straight out the box. You can just customize away to your heart's content. Okay, so let's just come back out of this now and let's just take a look at rebuilding this for ourselves. So this is where we are right now. Let's change all that. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is just pull in that template. Now, obviously, if you don't want to use my template, you're more than welcome to build something from scratch yourself, but this should just give you a good starting point. What we're going to do is we are in the Save Template section of Elementor Pro. Going to come into Import Templates, and we're just going to simply drag and drop this file and then import it. And this is just called the WooCommerce dashboard. And you can see there's the WooCommerce dashboard. So what we're going to do is we can just open this up if we want to, or we could just simply come in and create a new page, edit a page, whatever we want to do. So what we're going to do is going to come into pages and all pages. And inside there, we're going to take the default WooCommerce My Account page and use that as the basis. It just makes our lives a little bit easier because we don't have to mess about with re-referencing things as part of the settings inside WooCommerce. So there's the My Account page. We're going to click to open that up. And you'll find that all that's really in there is a simple short code, which is WooCommerce_my_account. Now, there are tons of shortcodes you can use for various different things. And once we open up Edit with Elementor, you'll find what happens is it'll just create a shortcode widget inside there, which we can use if we want to. And that's all that's happened. We've got this shortcode widget in there. Okay, so with that all done, what we can do now is we can load in our template. So let's just come down to the template section at the bottom, click on there. And from there, we're going to come to My Templates. And there's our WooCommerce dashboard. We're going to insert that. We'll say yes to all that. And we'll let that insert into our layout. Now, obviously, we're using the Astra theme, so things are a little bit different inside here. So you may find you have to play about and tweak a few bits and pieces to get it to look the way you want. What you could do if you wanted to, if you want to get rid of the sort of top section or you want to create something a little bit more unique, you could easily come into the settings section, choose the Elementor canvas. And what we'll do is we'll hide the title, make sure that's well hidden as well. And we then end up with a simple, clean page. And that's what we're going to work with. It's up to you how you want to do this because you could be using any multitude of different themes. Okay, so where we've got this little shortcode, what I'll do is I'll show you how to use that. Let's get rid of this in there. So we're just going to X that out. We'll do a quick search on widgets for shortcode. We'll drag and drop a shortcode into that area. And then we're just going to simply come up to this top section, going to copy this little block, copy that from there, and we're going to drop that into the shortcode. Okay, so you can see that now refreshes and shows us the information, which we'll deal with in a moment. Let's now get rid of this top section. Okay, so you can see we have a little bit of an issue. We have our welcome message, which is perfectly fine, but we also have all the information down the left-hand side, the navigation, which we don't need because it's basically replicating what we have up here and kind of makes it a bit redundant. So the easiest way to deal with that is with a simple bit of CSS code. We can just hide this section on the left-hand side and then we can make this full width. So let me just show you how to do that. So we come up to the Advanced tab, making sure that the widget is selected. Scroll down to the bottom, we've got Custom CSS. Now we can assign Custom CSS to this particular widget. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop in this little bit of code first of all. So let me just go through that. So this is just saying, there's the selector for it, which is WooCommerce-my-account-navigation. And again, all this information will be in the description below, so you can just grab all this code and just paste it in there. And we say display none, so that just hides it. But you can see what it does is it also leaves this left-hand section evident. So we need to deal with that as well. So another little bit of CSS code. I'm going to just drop that inside there. And again, you can see this is using that selector. This time it's targeting the content, which is this main section, and it just tells it to make it width 100%. So we've hidden the left-hand side and maximized the right-hand side. Simple as that. That's all it is to do. Let's hit update on there. And we've now set everything up. So we've got this all configured and set up the way we want. Now, let me just quickly go through these different sections so you can see what we've done, because I don't think I need to tell you or show you how to create something like this. You can either use my template or you can just simply build something yourself. But I just want to quickly show you how these different parts are set up to work. So each of these different links, that's the icon, the view orders, and the order button itself, all link through to the same location. And if we take a look, they're using the endpoints. Now, all of the endpoints start with my-account, unless, of course, you're using a different layout, but I would recommend doing it this way just for simplicity and keeping everything in line. So that's the first part of it. And then the endpoint itself, for example, orders, comes after my account. Now, the reason I do it this way is because if I want to use this template on other sites, obviously, the domain is going to be different for each different site. So if I put the full domain in for every one of these different links, and there's 3 on each one of these different sections, I have to come in and change it every single time, and that would be just a bit of a pain. So by using it this way, you basically be creating a relative path. Doesn't matter what the domain is, it's going to work for you. Unless, of course, you put things into a subdomain, at which point you need to edit these and put the subdomain in and the full URL. Anyway, it's up to you. I'm sure you can figure that side of things out. So that's all they do is you can see this one goes to the endpoint for orders, this one for the endpoint for downloads, this one for the endpoint for edit your addresses, and finally the endpoint for edit account. So if you're ever unsure of any of these, when you create or when you sort of take that left-hand navigation thing, all those endpoints are listed there. You can just copy those into a separate text file, create a list of those somewhere, just use those then to link through to these different sections. So that's how we create those different parts of it. This section at the top is just using some simple dynamic data. So let me just show you how this works. So the avatar, if we click on that, is just an image file. That's all it is, but it references the avatar that's being used for the account. To do that, let me just close that down and I'll just quickly show you how it's done. There's the image. We just dropped an image widget in there. We're going to click on the dynamic tags option to open that up. And from there, we're going to come down to we get the author information. So you can see we've got author profile picture or user profile picture. Now we're going to use the user profile picture. We're going to click on that. And you see that now pulls in the avatar that's associated with my account. So when I'm logged in, that's the avatar I would see. When someone else is logged in, as long as they've got an avatar that's set up through Gravatar, then that will be listed inside there. If not, it'll just be a placeholder. Now it's very similar on the welcome message. That kind of does the very similar kind of thing. So let's take a look at that. If you click, this is just a simple heading that again is referencing dynamic tags. So if I wanted to get rid of that, let's just close that down. So you can see that just puts the plain placeholder text in. Let's click on the dynamic tags. Now from there, we want to grab the user info. So we're going to scroll down until we find under site, we've got user info. Now this is associated with the user that's currently logged in. So once you set this kind of template up, whoever logs in will see the relevant data to them when they're logged in. So you click on user info. Now you can see that nothing happens. What we need to do is click on this little wrench icon, and that allows us to choose exactly what user info we want to reference. So under the field section, we're going to expand that out and we're going to choose display name. But you can see there's a ton of other info in there. So if you wanted to create a more unique welcome message with other information, you could do just that. We're just going to say display name. Once we do that, you can see it now just says Paul C, and that doesn't really make a lot of sense. If we open up the advanced option, you can see we can put text before and after and put in a fallback. So we can just say, hey, and it'll be hey Paul C. So we'll just put a space after that. And then afterwards, we'll put a comma. How are you today? There we go. So now you can see it drops in that message and we just created a custom welcome message. Now, what if someone doesn't have a sort of a name associated with them? They haven't updated that. They just have a username. We can drop in a fallback. So we can just say, hey, shopper. And then if there's no name in there, then it'll just replace where it says Paul C in there, which is my name, with shopper. So you're just creating some simple logic. That's all it really is. So other than that, there's nothing else you really need to know because it's just a normal page that we've created as part of Elementor. We can update this. Let's come back into my account now. We'll refresh this so we can get rid of all of this extra stuff. And we'll see now we have our fully customized setup. So you can see, hey, Paul C, how are you today? If we come down, we can say view orders and we'll have that section then. We'll update and show us any orders we've got associated with our account. If you've got any downloads, you can see that shows our downloads, so on and so forth. So we've now created a fully customized dashboard for our account holders. Anybody that logs in will now have a much nicer user experience. And I think this is a great way, really getting in and starting to customize the whole way in which WooCommerce works. So hopefully what you've seen throughout this entire video is there's a ton of things you can do to get really creative. And it all comes down to how experienced you are, how comfortable you are getting in and changing these things, or realistically what you want to do. If you want to keep it simple, stick to just doing it through Elementor Pro. If you want to get your hands in, get a little bit down and dirty with it and fiddle with the code, get stuck in and take a look and messing about with the functions, PHP files, and all those kinds of really good things. So if you've been using this combination for any period of time and you want to take it to the next level and learn even more, check out the videos you can see on screen right now. They're going to give you some really great ideas on how you can customize your WooCommerce websites. As always, all of the applicable links are in the description below. And if you've got any comments, questions, or feedback, drop those in the comment section. My name's been Paul C. This has been WPTuts, and until next time, take care.